Hello students, I have Dr. Madhan with me. Madhan is rank 3 in the latest All India NEET PG exam. We're going to have a short chit chat with Madhan on how he prepared and how he used these resources, including Marrow, to help him in the preparation. So Madhan, welcome to Marrow.
Thank you.
Let me take this in a chronological order, right? When did you complete your internship?
March 2017.
17 you completed, right? So, see, before completing, did you prepare for the exam? Like, did you prepare for the NEET PG? Did you solve some MCQs?
I have some idea about it.
You had some idea. Okay.
I went to a coaching center in my Madurai. And,
so you had some background. You had some background. And you had a solid fundamentals in your UG basic subjects or clinical subjects. You were good at all those or?
Above average.
Above average already.
Above average.
Okay. So say 2000 when you completed internship, so you had some idea what NEET PG is. You have seen some questions, some MCQs, and obviously you know it is tough, right? Very confident of getting a seat the same year.
Yeah. Yes.
You are confident. Okay. Okay. That's great. Why so? I mean, because of your background and preparation, or?
I have a positive attitude first of all. I should.
Okay, that's actually great. So you are like, okay, fine, I will get it. So I think that's great because, I mean, the other option anyway is not interesting, right? So it's better to have a positive attitude. Great. So okay, great. So you completed internship, and what is the first thing you did? Like you joined a coaching.
Yes, I joined in a Thrissur Medical College
Alumni Association, right?
And, started to read in April, in the middle of the April.
Middle of April, started to read. So, did you make a timetable?
Yes, sir. From starting till the final revision, I put a timetable.
Okay, when did you make the timetable?
After some 20 or 30 days.
Okay.
Because my reading was slow. And at the beginning, it was very slow. So I find that it won't work out.
You found that, if I go in that pace, you're not going to finish up. So if you had to do it again, when will you make the timetable? Day one or after a few days or even before?
First I should have an idea about each subject, sir. How the weightage is given for each subject. And for seniors are spending how many days for each subject. We should have a brief idea about that and then we should prepare
the timetables. Right. So to your juniors or colleagues, would you recommend preparing timetable as early as possible?
Yes.
Yeah, that should be the first thing. Would you say that is the first thing?
Yes, sir. That should be the first thing because reading for 8 or 9 months won't work.
Won't work.
So you revision and how many times you are doing revision matters and the exam comes.
Right. So I have I reiterated it several times in my live session as well. So the first point, I mean, so the way we are structuring this interview is like a casual conversations. We haven't prepared or anything. So it actually brings out the best, naturally. So Madhan started with an attitude, okay, fine, I'll get it anyway. So that is very interesting. And I see that with most people actually who get through is that, what's the point of getting tensed or having a negative attitude to start with, right? I mean, if you're starting with, I will get it. At least 20,000 students get every year. So why I shouldn't be one? So that exactly is my point one. You start with a positive attitude. Second is that timetable, right? So Madhan studied around 10-20 days. Then you realized, which subject was that? Patho, right? I remember I studied anesthesia first. I went in alphabetic order, and I started studying. And I think I studied 1 month. Okay, then I realized, my God, this is not going to work out. So I remember when I did it, I took 1 month. Madhan earlier realized, this long studying without a plan won't work. So what you need first is a plan, which is a timetable. And what Madhan said, which we actually have given you out the Excel sheet. So what we have is an Excel sheet where you can actually put in the number of days. It will help you have the number of days for each subject. So right now we have it in Marrow. So then you actually come up with a plan for each subject, right? So, and before that, I think one critical point you mentioned is the revision. So you should know that you have to dedicate time for revision.
Without revision.
Anyway, it doesn't. So that anyway we all know. So the challenge, at least that's a good thing, right? We all the students actually know the revision is needed. But can you be very specific? If you have to put in percentage, how much percentage of time should go to revision? So you have 100 days. So
for 100 days, 20 days.
20 days to revision.
20
so
to 30 days.
30 days. So we usually suggest 60 to 40. So you're saying 70 study and 30 revision. So that sort of goes well within the Marrow philosophy, that 60% of your time, and it all depends on how you start, right? If you're starting late,
strong in basics means revision. We can do 3 or 4 revisions also, sir.
3 or 4 revisions also. So that is the next point. So the first point I'll reiterate: you need revision, and the revision should be accounted as early as in the cycle when you make the timetable. Now we suggest 40% time for your revision, especially if you're starting now and you have like 6 months plus 40% of your time. At best 30, and this should itself have 2 to 3 rounds of revision, right? Yes. So 2 or 3.
3, sir.
3.
3 will be
3.
better.
3 is better, right? So we are looking at 3 rounds of revision. Now, which is, so you continued patho after that, and so how much time you had for, say, patho? Short subject, how much time? Patho, how much time?
After putting timetable, for long subjects like medicine, surgery and SP, I put 12 days. 12 days for
12 days.
For second
which year is correct in our calculation as well?
For first year and second year subject, except FM, I put 10 to 12 days.
10 to 12 days.
10 days is okay for
Okay.
me. And for short subject, 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days, right?
Except pediatrics and Aftal and ENT. That can take 7 days also.
So which is sort of very matching to the Excel we are given. So the Excel we have divided the time needed according to the weightage of the subject, and we have accounted for the difficulty as well, right? In a certain subject you might want slightly higher amount of days like that. So that is great. So then you actually come to a big realization that you only have 3 days for a short subject, right? I mean, I usually tell that big realization is the first step, right? And you're not looking at radiology for 1 week or 2 weeks. You have 3 days for radiology, and the success depends on how you do it. Now, once you started timetable, were you able to follow the timetable throughout? Did you miss it?
Not all the time.
Not all the time. But
sometimes it will take 1 or 2 days extra.
Okay. But all in all, you were able to manage.
Yes. For some subject, I will try to finish it earlier. So that I will match that. Maybe.
Okay. So, but all in all, you did justice to the timetable. Yes. All in all.
Only 5 or 6 days it
went extra. Well, that's commendable. And you wrote the timetable in a paper.
In my mind.
In your mind. That's great. I won't totally recommend that. You might want to write in a paper as well. So you had the timetable in your mind and you used to go accordingly. So what determined which subject to start first? Your coaching class or your own schedule?
My own schedule.
Your own schedule you had.
I just small revision of the what I was taught in the coaching class, and then routine. Go to the routine thing.
You will go to the routine thing, right? Okay. So I generally have seen 2 ways. Some people exclusively stick to the coaching center schedule. Which, please.
Many coaching centers subjects are not completely finished, sir. They will complete some topics, and after 2 or 3 months they will be completing another topic.
So then it becomes a problem, right?
Complete all the topics.
So in Marrow context, so Madhan is a user of Marrow as well. In Marrow context, since all the classes are live, so students actually can afford to do that. Yes. So what we sort of recommend is that if you are going your own timetable, the first few days, go and watch the videos, make notes, then solve the Q bank and go to the subject like that. So while you say you were studying each subject, right? What did you do in your coaching class? You made notes?
Yes, sir.
Detailed notes?
Detailed notes.
I mean, you would be just sitting there and writing it?
Yes, sir.
Like full day, right? And you will never, I mean, whatever point you feel like is important?
Yes.
Okay. So
since I depend mostly on notes for the revision, I try to make most of the things into the notes.
You how many notebooks you had?
Almost all the subject I have notes.
All the subjects. So one notebook per subject or?
For medicine, surgery, two
Medicine surgery 2. Okay.
For other subject,
One. You had any special notebook for
For the easily forgettable things.
another notebook? Okay, so that we call the 20th notebook. Okay, so you had like this 19 subject book. Some subjects had like extra books. So you would fill up what? Two notebook in medicine? 200 pages?
200 pages. 250 to 300 pages. Notebook will be somewhat bigger.
Bigger. Okay. So for PEDS example, how big was your notebook?
PEDS until 200 pages.
200 pages. Okay.
For short subject, 200 pages. For long subjects.
Okay. For radiology, how many pages?
Radiology, 150 pages.
150 pages. The reason I'm asking is that I've seen many of our Marrow students also, you can keep making notes, right? There's nothing preventing you from adding from all the books, QBank, right? So obviously you need to stop somewhere as well, right? Right. So as you guys has listened, right? I mean, it's ideally one notebook except for medicine and maybe surgery, right? Everything else should fit into a single book, much less than for the...
Otherwise, it will be somewhat similar to entrance books.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it just gets so voluminous. So, guys who are making notes from Marrow videos or somewhere else, just, listen to that. So, this is something which are not really discussed. So, I want to go into the details, right? So, how many notes you take? So, you have a notebook with you?
Yes.
So, I'll show you some notes. Which subject you have?
I'm having medicine.
Okay, great. So everyone will love it. I mean, see, this is where the real question is, right? So we tell our Marrow students that, you should take notes. Okay, fine. I mean, I start writing and one day I finish like 10-20 pages, right? So obviously it's a learned behavior, but I think you need to have some idea, how big the notebook should be, how small the note should be. And so you made the notes, and these notes were primarily meant for revision. Right? You are target.
Just plan for revision and take notes.
Right.
I should complete the revision in this much days. Means reading entrance books won't work many
Right.
times. You will not be able to complete completing it in the due date. So that I follow notes for revision. So I try to prepare notes during my first preparation time.
Yes. So this is very interesting. So what Madhan is saying that your goal is the revision, right? You're making the notes for revision. So I kind of see that is because anyway we'll forget everything.
Yes.
Right? So it's like anyway you can't remember all these things in the initial 4 months. So your goal is to try to remember whatever is possible. Then ultimately make a really good note so that you can rekindle your mind in the 10-20 days of revision. Right? And so, before the exam goal, revision is the secondary, like intermittent goals in between, right? Great. So, so this revision, so you started going with subject wise and parallelly you attended the classes and you saw the subject wise books?
Only for MCQ I used this. Okay. Most of my class notes were okay for me. One or two subjects, if I feel bad, I will read the entrance books.
Okay. So any what are your top 5 subject wise book suggestions? I know it's a very debatable thing, every subject, but if you feel that this was good decision, reading these 2-3 books were really good.
If your class notes are okay for me,
nothing is
for you, nothing is needed.
So that's also most Marrow students know. I mean, if they do it and they go do the QBank, that things. But still, do you find that these 2-3 books everyone should do it? Anything of that sort?
Chris book by
Krishna Vasar is that. Then
Rebecca James.
Biochemistry.
Right. And from Vandana Puri,
Pathology book. Great.
And Micro
Apurva Sastry. This would be your top recommendation. Yes, fair enough, because as far as I understand, there is no single standard. So students study everything. But yeah, a lot of them are very bloated up, so it might be tough to, right? Great. So then you made these notes, you had a timetable, you went accordingly. Were you fully happy, confident doing this? Like, did you go into depressive phases? Like, or
yes, sir. And during my first revision, I felt that I wasn't able to recollect anything.
Yes. Think about it, right? You have the top rank 3 talking about it. So this is normal, yes, right? That's normal. So not able to recollect is normal. But again, you should not lose hope with that point, right? Okay, great. So, but again, you continue with the revision.
But my second revision, during my second revision, I felt good, somewhat good.
Somewhat
I'm
good.
doing good.
Okay. So regarding grand test, your tests, MCQ practice. So did you take MCQs, the grand test, subject-based test?
During your first reading, you should try questions, sir. Because you should orient to the questions, how the questions will be asked in the entrance examination. If you start the questions only during the revisions, you won't get an idea how the questions are asked.
Right.
So you start to do the questions from the beginning
Itself, right?
You know something about every subject. By using that, you try to solve the questions.
Right. So what Madhan is saying, you can't just listen to a class or a video and then just take notes. You need to start looking and understanding the question. So Madhan is saying you should do MCQ practice, right? So when did you do the MCQ practice?
After if you are using Marrow, sir, after seeing a video about a topic, I will directly go to the questions.
Right.
How strong I was in the topic, I will know this.
Okay. Did you bookmark any questions or you add points from this to the notes?
Points which are not found in my notes, I will add in my notes.
So the QBank really was a practice, like familiarity, practice kind of.
To make you to adapt to the computer-based questions.
Right.
Since we are doing only computer-based questions now only.
Right.
For the first time, many of them will have a problem.
Right. So that exactly is what we tell. I'm glad that you also did the same. That we are faced with these problems, right? We have really good teachers who are taking classes. Then the challenge is that there are books which are very voluminous, right? So this is too extreme. So Marrow, we usually recommend once you finish a topic, you could be attending any kind of coaching. You attended TMCA, you could be attending any coaching, any class. So when it comes to QBank, once you finish a topic, this is what we call a synchronized learning. Once you finish a topic, go and solve the MCQs of that topic. So one thing we now recommend strongly is bookmarking for a later revision. So last year, many students did not use the bookmark properly. So we say, bookmark MCQs properly. And as you rightly said, it helps in practice and it prepares you for the negative marking, like how to guess it, how to take an adaptive answer, etc. Great. So MCQ practice is important. And obviously you took grand tests.
Yes.
Right. When did you start taking grand tests?
From June.
From June you started. 1 month, how many grand tests?
During Sunday night, I will do the grand test.
One grand test. Okay. So
we spend 4 hours for it. And
it was totally worth it. Okay. How many grand tests you took so?
Every month 4.
4 years to take. Would you recommend the same to everyone or? Looking back.
If you're okay with that, you can take, sir. For spending 4 hours a week won't affect you more.
Okay.
At the same time, doing the grand test at the final 2 or 3 months, most of the persons will feel sleepy. Going through the 300 questions will be difficult. For them. After attending 1 or 2 tests, will be difficult for them. So if we started from the beginning itself, just accommodate to the 300 questions, to attending the 300 questions completely.
Okay, that's a good point because it's actually really hard to sit and do it, right? With the focus. So Madhan started doing a lot of grand tests. We usually say at least 1 for sure, 2 if possible. By mid-months, do more and more grand tests. And after taking a grand test, you find the results. And what did you notice? You had a good rank initially, or it started improving, or it was static?
Somewhat static in the middle.
Static in the middle. For the Marrow final grand test, what was your rank?
12.
12 you were there. But you know that that's a good rank, and it gave you a confidence. So, very worried about your rank, or it's a guide?
During the negative marking, in the middle of the preparation, they had
change the negative marking. Now, anyway, there is negative marking. So, would you go back and study all these questions? And so you have 300 questions, right?
Yes.
Would you study those questions after the grand?
After complete, I read only the wrong questions and the
others
questions which are unattempted.
Okay.
Otherwise, spending more time will not.
Right. So that's a good point, right? So the grand test, obviously, you can have a quick revision or a quick look at the answers, but don't worry too much about reading everything and just the wrong ones.
Just have an idea to attempt the 300 questions, how the questions will be asked, how much importance will be given for each subject. You can have a brief idea about it.
Right. So as Madan said, right? So it's about the quick practice, right? I mean, it's all about practice. It's not about those 300 questions per se. It's about getting you familiarized, sitting there, answering it, identifying the wrong ones and marking it, guessing it, right? I mean, don't worry too much. So one more feature we have in Marrow now is the custom module. So you can actually create tests. So if someone wants to take like every week, please go ahead and take the grand test. So grand tests are like important. It can never be wrong. What is your opinion about subject-wise tests? Should a student take all the subject-wise tests?
After finishing subject. After finishing every subject, they can take some.
So
they can analyze by that only. How strong they are, how strong they are in the subject, and what are the weaker areas they can find, so that they can correct in the revision period, during the revision time
itself. Okay. So subject-wise tests ideally are taken once the subject is completed, and that's what you're saying, and it helps you to analyze that subject, how good or bad you were in. Right. Great. And during this grand test and subject-wise tests, did you focus on anything else, like your performance, the percentage of correct answers, or is it like your final score?
After the negative marking, I try to assess my guessing powers.
Okay.
How much it works for me. At the beginning, for 50% of questions which I guessed was correct.
Okay. Then so that was a good indication that. So how many you wrote for the final exam?
290 questions.
290 questions. Okay. Why not 300?
It doesn't have any knowledge about 10 questions, so better avoid it.
Okay. So to recap, the plan was so simple, right? When you look at it, so Madhan started with a positive note. Few days started without a plan, made a plan, followed the plan, wrote notes, which is not too big, too small, but decent enough notes. Did 3 revisions or 2 revisions? 3 revisions. Took a number of grand tests, and it all culminated to your major exam. Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay. So how was your exam day?
Little bit frustration.
Why?
Anxious. I am expecting less than 100 ranks.
Okay. So, okay.
The exam will be a difficult level. How much it will be.
Okay. It's a good problem to have anyway. So you went with a good confidence to the exam hall, and anything special you would suggest the students?
On the exam. First of all, on the previous day you should have a good sleep of 8 hours. On the exam day, you should feel confident and think positive, and try to reduce your anxiousness. Have a good colleague with you, so that you will be able to reduce your anxiousness on that day. And never try to make more and more points get into your brain on that day. Right. The day of examination, it won't work. It will erase that previous memories only.
Great. So, really great points. So, now what is your next plan? You joined AIMS, and now you're gonna come back and join.
Discontinued AIMS.
And you will be taking radiology, I assume, right? Radiology in Madras Medical College. Great. So, all the best, Madhan. Thanks for your time. So, Madhan, so what is your take on Marrow QBank and test series? How it helped? How did you use? And how your juniors and colleagues should use Marrow QBank and test series?
Regarding Marrow QBank, it was after finishing the test, you should when you are reading the notes, it was almost similar to they had covered all the topics, and then the topics which are not given in many entrance books also.
Right. Yeah.
Probably they will be the questions in the upcoming examinations.
Right.
So you will get a brief knowledge about the questions which you are less familiar with. First point. Okay. First point. And second thing, you have a guess tracker in Marrow.
Right.
Using the guess tracker, you can analyze your guessing power. For some person, the guessing power, they feel that they doesn't have good guessing power. Using guess tracker, you can analyze yourself. By guess tracker, only I analyze myself that my guess power was more than 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And then I improved, try to attend more questions, and I felt during the final time, I felt that nearly 75% of my guesses got correct. Correct response.
Got it. Practice.
after finishing each and every subject, try to attend all the subject-wise tests so that it will be helpful for analyzing how much you studied that subject. At the same time, you can get an idea which are the topics you are weaker, so that during the revision time you can put more effort on that topic and get accustomed to that.
Great. So, Madhan, do you have any final few concluding thoughts, to give to the students and juniors?
First thing, try to start your preparation as early as you are possible during your internship itself. Though you are not able to do it completely, have a brief idea about the entrance, how the questions are going, how the questions are asked in each examinations, and to what level you are strong in basics. You should know that in the internship period itself. Second thing, during your preparation, during your first time reading, try to have prepare your own notes. If your class notes are okay, try to follow it till your final revision. Or if you don't have a clear notes, try to prepare your own notes from the entrance guides. Because reading the entrance guides or textbooks during the revision will take more time, and at the same time you will not be able to do the revision in an effective way. And third thing is, during your revision time, try to spend the time always for test. Daily you should try to do some 50 or 100 questions daily, because doing questions help you to know your weaker areas, and at the same time you will get accustomed to the computer based examinations.
So, Madhan, anything more to conclude? Please feel free to.
First thing, try to start your preparation as early as possible during your internship period itself, if you can. And second thing, try to stay positive and be with positive persons, so that you won't get down during your preparation. And third thing, try to spend an ample amount of time for the questions during revision time. And finally, for the persons who are not able to go to the coaching center, try to follow the Marrow completely. First you start with videos, then go to question bank, and after finishing each and every subject, go for subject wise test, and the grand test and mock test will help you to analyze yourself among the other candidates who are also preparing, and then follow the pearls and images, so that you will be able to get a similar feel what you will be doing in the coaching center. Stay confident and try to do best.
Great, thank you. Really solid points. So thanks, Madhan, for coming down to Marrow. We are proud of you, and students like you, when you use Marrow and get a good rank, that's such a proud moment for you, for us and the entire team. So big thanks for coming down, for using Marrow, for supporting, for providing these kind words to our juniors and colleagues. All the best for your PG and the future career as well. Thank you.
Thank you.